All right, episode 6. We're back again. How are you today?
Yeah, not bad. Feeling much better than last week, I must say.
Yeah, me too. It's definitely good to not be sick now. All right, so last episode we explored the power of storytelling in marketing and how it's not just for brand building, but it's a key driver of emotional connection and trust. We talked about the best brands position their customers as the hero, they use emotion to make messages stick, and they build loyalty by sharing stories that resonate. Storytelling isn't just a nice to have, it's the difference between being remembered or being ignored. And now that you know how to connect with your audience through narrative, it's time to understand the what, the content that carries stories and turns attention into action. So today we're going to be diving into how to build a content strategy that not only attracts attention, but actually converts. It's not just about pumping out random posts or just chasing trends. It's about creating intentional, valuable content that aligns with your business goals, speaking directly to your audience, and drives real results. Whether you're aiming for more leads, more sales, or stronger brand loyalty, this episode will help you craft a content game plan that works. So why content matters in 2025? So it fuels SEO, it builds trust over time, and it nurtures your audience before they're ready to even buy.
It does indeed. And of course, content marketing is all about, implementing a strategic marketing approach, which is focused on creating and distributing valuable, relevant and consistent content, which is geared specifically towards your ICP or buyer persona, so that's your ideal customer persona, to help attract and engage them, and with the ultimate goal of driving profitable customer actions and revenue, essentially.
Yeah. Posting on socials as well and all your content isn't about selling and saying buy my product. It's about solving a problem and providing a solution to your customers with their questions, facts, and making them understand easier.
Yeah, totally. And the thing is, I mean, when you're doing content marketing, you need to target many different channels. I mean, social media is only one of them. But let's be honest, most people don't go to social media to buy stuff, right? If they do buy stuff from Temu or wherever it may be, that's generally an impulse buy. I mean, when you're doing content marketing properly, you need to be doing blogs, YouTube videos, infographics, PDFs and downloads, social media posts as well. But of course, depending on the business that you're running, that could be on social media channels like Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. If you're more B2B focused, it could be LinkedIn. But we also need to remember that there's other question and answer sites out there like Quora and Reddit and things like that. And Reddit have really come up in the SEO over the past maybe 6 months on Google. So when you're searching for any sort of problem that you might have, you'll generally find that there's Reddit posts high in the search engine. So it's really important when you're doing content marketing and you're answering these questions that your customers are typing into or searching Google for. Not just Google, of course. They do search on TikTok, and now with the advent of AI, a lot of people are using AI to answer questions, so they're not bombarded with paid ads and things like that. But also you've got things like what we're doing now. You've got podcasts, ebooks, guides, etc., etc.
Yeah, it's actually a verified fact that companies that prioritize content marketing see 6 times higher conversion rates than those that don't.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, when we do content marketing or inbound marketing or even demand generation, which incorporates all those strategies and methodologies, content marketing is a big part of what we do. And I mean, if you take the solar company we're working with in Mackay, for instance, where their website was nowhere to be seen when we got involved, it was getting no traffic at all whatsoever. And in as little as 9 months, it went from 0 to 5,000 visits a month and continued to grow, only just because we had implemented, the pillars of a strong content strategy, for instance, which is about creating content which is audience first, which is creating content for different parts of the buyer's journey, if you like. First one being awareness. Um, uh, and of course, the content needs to be written to speak about the solutions to the problems about that specific customer as well.
Yeah. So going on to the pillars of a strong content strategy, there's 5 pillars for this. So the first one you already mentioned is audience first. Then we've got content goals, content mix, distribution channels, and then consistency is king. So your audience first is who you're speaking to. We've mentioned this in a previous podcast that you need to define your ICP. Everything, understand who they are, what they do, what their interests are, what their behaviors are. Once you have a well-defined ICP, it makes everything to do with your marketing so much easier, and your messaging just resonates.
Yeah, 100%. Everything you do needs to be created with your ICP in mind. That's the bottom line. Otherwise, you'll end up speaking to no one, and you'll attract no one. And it's really important to make sure, moving on to point 2 there, you mentioned, Chloe, about having content goals, and this is really important when you're talking about the buyer's journey, where you're trying to attract, engage and delight, because each of those stages will resonate with different buyers and where they are in their journey. So it's important to make sure that you're creating content specific to those different stages of that buying journey, and what your overall goal is. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all in business to make money. We're here to help people provide a solution to whatever problem that they're currently having, whether that be short term or long term. So we need to make sure that when you're creating content, that is not just speaking to your ideal customer profile, but it also has a goal in mind.
Yeah. And then your third one is your content mix. So doing different types of contents, from long form to short form, written to video, evergreen to timely.
So basically what you want to do here is, generally from an SEO standpoint, of when, like going back like maybe 5 to 10 years, probably 10 years ago, content was about more about short form content for SEO. It was more about keywords and things. Fast forward 5 years, they're starting to talk about long form content and long tail keywords. So it's not just about single keywords, it's about long tail keywords. Now the thing is people are busy, right? So long form content is an absolute must, especially if you're trying to educate someone on how to do something. And I'll give you a perfect example of this. We've just launched a new article. It's 5,000 words long. It's got images, descriptions, bullet points, scannable content in there. And it basically takes someone who's never knew what a Google Business Profile is to set one up, optimizing it for local SEO. Now, the thing is, unless you're keen on reading the entire document, which anyone that's wanting to do that type of thing will likely do, another method for us to do would be to create a long form video and actually take people through that, because not everyone wants to read, right? Some people prefer to watch videos and things. Now, adding a video to that long form content is a fantastic idea, and we will get around to doing that. But you also have things like short form content, which is good for little snackable content pieces, which maybe make up a larger content piece. Perfect for social media posts. If you're doing short form video, good for YouTube Shorts, good for TikTok and things like that as well. In terms of like evergreen and timely content, I mean, evergreen content is things that will never go out of date. It's there, it's always going to be valid, and it maybe just needs updated now and again. And our article, for instance, with the Google Business Profile is the perfect example of that. Timely content is basically creating content of things that happen at the time. So I'll give you an example of this. We done a social media post last year when there was a banana stuck to the wall with gaffer tape that sold for, I can't actually remember how much it sold for. Say it was $1 million or whatever, right? So what we done is we done a timely social media post, mainly on LinkedIn, I think it was, and Facebook, taking a banana, gaffer taping it to the wall, and just incorporating our own funny side to it and referencing, how we can help our customers with a solution similar to that. So that's what the type of content is. But it's really important to make sure that when you're doing content, it's not just a one-size-fits-all strategy. You need to make sure you're creating multiple types of content which can reach a multiple different types of people. And that includes things like this with a podcast as well, because we'll be able to reach people that maybe would never have been able to reach previously.
Number 4 is just distribution channels. So where your audience? So this could be emails, social media channels, blogs, podcasts. You don't want to, if you're a B2C company, you don't want to be on LinkedIn if your customers aren't there, or doing ads on LinkedIn if that's not where your customers are. You need to be where your customers are. So if you're B2B, you more than likely don't need to be on, Pinterest and all that sort of stuff. You want to be mainly on LinkedIn and connecting with business owners on there. If you're doing B2C, you might want to be on TikTok, on Instagram, maybe posting things on Facebook as well. You need to be where your customers are.
Yeah, I do agree with that 100%. However, I'm probably more along the lines of old school where, you need to take an omnichannel approach, which means you need to be on as many channels as you possibly can, even though you might not think that Facebook really gets much engagement, which it probably doesn't, especially from a B2B type business. But at the end of the day, people buy for people, and everyone is everywhere. So while they might not engage with you on Facebook or Reddit or Twitter or TikTok or wherever it is, the chances are if they're interested, then they'll go back to whatever platform suits them, and then maybe I'll engage with there, which includes LinkedIn. I mean, we get a lot more engagement for LinkedIn because our services are more geared towards B2B, but like I know from experience that people from Facebook also see this content, and while they might not reach out right away, it could be maybe a year, 2 years, 3 years, and that's what content marketing's all about, right? It's planting that seed. But I have had people reach out on different platforms, which I wouldn't have expected, but because we're there, we're managing to reach them.
Yeah. And that just funnels straight into number 5, which is consistency is key. Building trust isn't something that you post once and, you have these 10 million people wanting to buy your product. Showing up regularly will build trust with people, your ICP, your audience, and people that might not even know that they have a problem. But once they see your content, they realize they have that problem and you have a solution. So they will naturally gravitate towards you, and you will be front of mind.
I mean, I can't tell the listeners enough that consistency is key. One of the biggest problems we see with businesses that work with us for a short period of time, which isn't recommended, is even if it's like 12 months and they think that, we've made a lot of progress in that 12 months. It's amazing. We've got loads more revenue. We've grown the team. And it's because we are consistently doing content marketing for them. And what that's basically doing is that's keeping them in the public eye. It's keeping them where the customers are, and it's keeping them top of mind. Now, as soon as that drops off, and I've seen it even for us, where there's been maybe like when we were ill, for instance, and we weren't able to post, that the amount of people visiting our personal profiles, business profiles, getting in touch via email, engaging on LinkedIn and other social media platforms, it starts to decrease quite quickly. So consistency is absolute key in content marketing.
Yeah. So we had a bit of a talk before in number 4 about platforms that work best for your company. So there's a few different ones we have here as well. So as we already know, TikTok has taken off, and Instagram has followed them instead of Reels. And then we also have YouTube Shorts now, which are actually increasing quite a lot. So short form video is absolutely dominating at the moment. People, as we already said as well, people have short attention
Yeah,
spans,
100%.
and they they want to know what you can tell them in less than 30 seconds. What can you do for them? Blah, blah, blah. Is it a funny TikTok? Is it, relatable? Yes, we have short form content there. LinkedIn, as we mentioned before, is amazing for B2B businesses and personal branding as well. Posting not just from your company profile on LinkedIn, but your personal profile, sharing, what your challenges you're going through, or wins that you're currently seeing at the moment, trends that you're seeing as, say, a marketer, is really good to post about, and creating that conversation with like-minded individuals.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, going back to the different types of content, the short form and long form, if you are creating long form content, you need to make sure that it's scannable because people don't have time. And really, this is why we implemented a text to speech functionality on our website, which we'll be launching just shortly, whereby you can click a button and the actual browser itself will speak the article to you almost as if it's a book, like an audio book. Because people are
Mm,
just too busy, and that almost turns it into like a kind of like a podcast or an audio file sort of thing. So it's good to make sure that if you're doing long form content, make it scannable for people to pick out the parts that will really help them get the
yeah.
message.
And I think something we should mention as well is long form content isn't, some people, I had a client before say, oh, who's going to read that? Nobody wants to read 5,000 words, which is true. Some people, we don't have time. But creating that short, long form content is ideal for you getting snippeted on Google, and Google seeing you as an authority in your field. So it's not just about, creating it so nobody sees it. It's a purpose which drives
Oh,
traffic
that's
to
right. I
your
mean, long
website.
form content is required, especially nowadays with the advent of AI and everything like that. I mean, what Google's trying to do now, because people are getting better with their content game, right? So basically, what they're trying to do now um, is they're trying to do like probably I think this must have been about like back in 2005. So say maybe 10 years ago, Google implemented a system called eeat, which was experience, expertise, and trustworthiness on content. I don't think it had really been implemented that much because back then it was still more geared towards kind of keywords and it involved in long tail keywords and that kind of stuff. But what they're really focusing on now is eeat, which stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. It's a concept that's where Google evaluates the quality of the content, especially when ranking websites and search results. And that's becoming even more prevalent nowadays with the advent of AI, because every man and their dog is creating content with AI. And a lot of the content,
Mm,
you can kind of see um, when content's been created by AI and it's not got that authoritativeness through it. But it is becoming harder as LLMs become more sophisticated. So
mm,
long form content is absolutely crucial, and I know that the content that we've done, like this Google profile content, the social media side, image sizes content, a lot of them are between 2,000 and 5,000 words long. And it's not just because we want to put
yeah.
fluff in there. It shows our authoritativeness and our expertise in subject matter. And that's what's really important nowadays. And that's why long form content is still important.
Yeah. Going back to the platforms and formats, so we talked about this earlier as well. Podcasts are building those niche communities. And then we have SEO is crucial. So we just talked about this as well as to why long form content is absolutely amazing for Google and being authoritative. And then we have the repurposing strategy. So your one idea can be multiple content pieces. So you can have 5 plus pieces of content from one singular idea.
100%. In actual fact, our podcast is exactly that as well. So each topic we talk about, the podcast is split up into different, into different little videos, which gets a little snippet of something from that video over to people, so that it gets them thinking about that particular topic as well.
Yeah, which is also the short form video content as well. So it's actually a proven fact as well that the average user spends about 95 minutes a day consuming short form video content. And this was verified by Statista in 2024. And this, I would 100% agree with this.
Yeah, I'm on TikTok.
When you wake up in the morning before you start getting ready, or before you go to bed at night, you just sit there and you scroll. And it gets to a point where you don't even realize you're scrolling, and an hour's gone, and you're like, oh my God, when you could have been doing something else.
Read a book. That stops me having that scrolling stuff going on.
So we mentioned earlier about creating high engagement content. So there's a few ways that you can do this. First is knowing your audience's pain points and questions. And this comes down to knowing who your ideal customer profile is. If you don't know that, you're not going to know their pain
100%.
points and questions, and you're not going to be able to convey your message across to them. Focus on delivering quick wins. Hook them fast. So the first 3 seconds matter the most. Within those first three seconds, that user is going to decide whether they skip to the next video or whether this video is actually really interesting, let me continue watching.
That's right, and it's about making sure that you're adding value and not just adding loads of fluff. And the way you can do that is by integrating storytelling, even in the short form content. Storytelling is massive now when creating content, because let's be honest, when you watch any movie, even down to the daily news, for goodness sake, I mean, that's all stories, and that's what captures people's imagination right away,
And adding a call to action every single time you post, like comment, share, save, click, contact me. It gives them that sense of, oh, I need to do this. When they get value out of your content as well, it's a sense of, I need this, so I'm going to give them a follow or a like or a comment and give
That's
my
right.
point of view as
There should
well.
always be that next step for people when they get to the end of the whatever content it is, whether it's an article or a video. There should be a next step to take people on to.
Yeah. And you need to always measure your success as well. So as we mentioned earlier, you need to have a content strategy when it comes to posting to socials, not just doing a little bit of this here and a little bit of that there. And this goes for any sort of marketing as well. But you need to understand what's working that you're posting. What are people engaging with? What are they liking, sharing, commenting on? Your videos, how many seconds are people actually watching before they go next? Are your customers converting from your content, as in sales, sign-ups? You don't want to just chase the vanity metrics of, I got 100 views or 100 likes, You need to understand your business goals. And content should always lead people somewhere. So whether that's an email list, a product page, a booking link, your website, it always needs to lead to something
100%.
without selling.
And the thing is about measuring success, Chloe, is, as we both know, is it's bloody time consuming, going from platform to platform, when you've got LinkedIn, Pinterest, Twitter, or X, I should say, Facebook, Threads, Instagram, and you've got to try and report on all the ads from all these different platforms. But the good thing is we've been developing our own application, which our listeners might be interested to know, which will be a platform that not only integrates as a website, it's also integrating Google Business Profile, which also needs to be measured consistently. But we will also be integrating all our most the core social media channels, especially LinkedIn for B2B, so that all of these measuring activities can actually be measured directly from our application. So when you create a campaign and you're posting content within that campaign, you can get the overall campaign statistics and dashboards and things, and then you'll be able to go deeper down into ad level and things like that. But so that's something to keep in mind that's coming just shortly from the Adonis crew.
Yep. So I have a little challenge for the listeners. I want you to go back to your socials and audit your last 10 pieces of content. Which of those had purpose, which connected with your audience, and what can you do to improve that? So next week we're going to be talking about funnels, what they are, why you need one, and how you can turn cold leads into loyal customers, which is a really exciting one. Do you have anything else you want to add?
I think going back to the eeat stuff, the experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness, it's really important for people to understand this when they're actually creating content, and they should form a big part of their content strategy. So things that you need to think about with experience is, does the content creator have first-hand experience in the topic? So, for example, a person reviewing a product they've actually used, as opposed to just reading other stuff online. Expertise. If you're creating the content, are you knowledgeable and qualified in the topic? An example would be a licensed dermatologist writing about skincare. Authoritativeness. Is the creator or brand recognised as a go-to source, which is what every business should be aiming to try and get to be, right? Example is a well-known health site like Mayo Clinic, for instance, writing about nutrition. If you've ever done any research about health, or you've asked Dr. Google about any issue that you might be experiencing, Mayo Clinic is probably one of the websites that appears. And then moving on to trustworthiness, is the site and content reliable, honest, and safe? So is it reliable content? The person that's writing it understands what they're writing. It's reliable, comes from a good source, and it's honest. And that needs to be content that's transparent, accurate, and backed by sources. So it's not just about writing a bit of content and say, look, that's it done, and then it being opinionated, right? You need to actually add in sources. And if anyone goes to any of our blog articles, you'll see that we've got a sources section or a resources section where we've also backed up our opinions with research and that of other people's content as well. Now, Google wants to show people that, as in the people that are searching within their search platform, when someone's searching for it, whatever it is, they want to show them high quality, reliable content, especially for the, your money or your life kind of topics like health, finance, or safety. eeat helps determine which content deserves to rank higher. And so that's another reason why eeat needs to be included. So if you're creating content to build traffic or authority, aligning your content with the eeat principles will help your content rank better and build trust with your audience. So that's just a little bit more on that eeat. I've had a lot of clients talk to us about that. They've heard that, they've never really understood it. That's what it means, and that needs to be adhered to when you're creating content.
Yep, 100% agree. All right, well, I think that's us done for this episode. So we'll see you on the next one.
See you guys.
Bye.